In an era where audiences scroll past spectacles in seconds and skepticism has become second nature, a single wedding scene managed to stop time across China, not because it was louder, bigger, or more expensive than anything else on screen, but because it felt disarmingly real, and that is why the viral wedding featuring song Weilong and Zhao Jinmai did not merely trend, but emotionally overwhelmed millions who found themselves unexpectedly invested in a moment they intellectually knew was fictional yet emotionally experienced as intimate truth, because from the first frame the scene refused to behave like performance and instead unfolded like memory, the kind that sneaks up on you without warning and leaves a quiet ache long after it ends. With lighting that did not announce itself, styling that whispered elegance rather than shouting status, and a camera that lingered just long enough to feel intrusive in the way real private moments often do, prompting viewers to pause mid-scroll and ask themselves whether they were witnessing a drama scene or stumbling upon a genuine celebrity wedding captured by accident, and that confusion was not a trick but the result of emotional authenticity overpowering rational distance, revealing how deeply modern audiences crave sincerity even within constructed narratives, because people no longer want to be told what to feel, but want to discover feeling for themselves. And this scene trusted viewers enough to let silence, body, language, and atmosphere do the work that dialogue and spectacle often overexplain. Song Weilong's presence as the groom embodied a contemporary ideal that has slowly replaced outdated fantasies of dominance, offering instead a vision of masculinity rooted in restraint, stability, and emotional attentiveness, where his stillness spoke louder than exaggerated gestures ever could. His posture angled subtly toward the bride as if his entire focus existed within her orbit, signaling devotion without performance, commitment without declaration, and strength without control, a portrayal that resonated deeply in a cultural moment where audiences increasingly associate safety and reliability with true attractiveness, rather than intensity or volatility, and his calm did not drain the scene of passion but concentrated it, making every glance and micro-movement feel deliberate and sincere, while Zhao Jinmai's bride radiated a different yet equally powerful energy, one defined not by innocence or nervous anticipation, but by composure, certainty, and self-possession, her expression calm and assured as though marriage were not a prize she had won, but a choice she was consciously making. And this distinction mattered profoundly to viewers who are increasingly fatigued by narratives that frame female happiness as accidental or dependent, because here the bride did not stumble into fulfillment, but arrived at it fully aware, emotionally grounded, and unapologetically present, transforming the now viral phrase, winning life 100-0, from a shallow compliment into a collective projection of modern aspiration where beauty, confidence, and emotional security coexist without contradiction, where success is not measured by who one marries, but by the emotional clarity with which one chooses partnership. What elevated this pairing beyond visual harmony was the absence of forced chemistry, as their closeness felt lived in rather than staged, comfortable rather than performative, creating an intimacy so natural that even their silence carried weight, a silence that did not feel empty but full of shared understanding, the kind that usually takes years to build. And nowhere was this more evident than in the behind-the-scenes kiss that ignited widespread discussion, not because it was provocative or dramatic, but because it quietly subverted years of public perception surrounding Zhao Jinmai's screen intimacy, with her subtle initiative reframing her not as reserved or distant but as intentional and confident, allowing one honest moment to dismantle years of misplaced criticism and reminding audiences that growth, when genuine, does not announce itself but simply becomes undeniable. And this moment resonated especially strongly in a media environment where female actors are often boxed into rigid narratives that deny them complexity, proving that agency can be communicated through the smallest gestures when an actor is allowed to inhabit emotional truth rather than performance expectation. The power of this scene also lies in its narrative lineage, as audiences familiar with Gu Man's storytelling legacy bring with them a deep reservoir of trust built through emotionally resonant works that have shaped an entire generation's understanding of romance. And that trust amplifies emotional investment before a single episode airs, because viewers are not merely reacting to what they see, but to what they believe the story promises, a promise of emotional equality, mutual respect, and love as partnership rather than escape, all of which converge in this wedding as a symbol of shifting cultural values where passion is no longer defined by chaos or sacrifice, but by calm choice and shared growth. Where love is no longer portrayed as a solution to personal emptiness, but as a meeting of two already whole individuals, and this philosophical shift explains why the scene felt aspirational without feeling unattainable, romantic without feeling delusional. Paradoxically, this fictional wedding felt more authentic than many real celebrity ceremonies precisely because it avoided spectacle, refusing ostentation in favor of intimacy, allowing the emotional core to breathe without distraction, creating a space where viewers felt invited rather than impressed, connected rather than excluded, and in doing so it tapped into a quiet dissatisfaction many viewers feel toward performative public love displays that prioritize image over emotion. Reminding audiences that intimacy does not need witnesses to be valid, and when fiction mirrors emotional truth so closely it transcends its own artificial boundaries, becoming a vessel for collective longing and reflection. Which is why so many viewers reported feeling unexpectedly moved, even shaken, by a scene they never anticipated would matter so deeply. Describing sensations of nostalgia for moments they had not yet lived or recognition of emotions they rarely see represented with such restraint and respect. This viral moment is therefore not just a triumph of casting or aesthetics, but a cultural signal that audiences are evolving alongside the stories they consume, seeking reflections of emotional health, self-awareness, and intentional love, and it also highlights a growing sophistication in audience taste, where viewers reward subtlety over excess and sincerity over spectacle, proving that the loudest moments are not always the ones that linger, but often the quiet ones that allow viewers to project their own hopes, fears, and ideals onto the screen, and whether the full project ultimately fulfills its promise or not, this single scene has already etched itself into public memory as proof that when performance, visual language, and emotional honesty align, even a fleeting moment can ignite imagination more powerfully than an entire series, serving as a reminder to creators that audiences are not merely consumers of content, but participants in emotional storytelling, ready to respond when treated with respect and intelligence. And if this story moved you, surprised you, or made you rethink what romance on screen can look like, thank you for spending your time with 24H News. TM, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below, because your perspective is part of this conversation, and we can't wait to read what you think.